This is the third day of the ASL. We've got Group C. Yesterday we had a Protoss lineup. Both of them got through, but today we've got the Terran squad. We've got Royal, Rush, and then we've got Motive and Sacsri. And joining me once again is the one and only, it's the Big Jip.
Good morning, Nyoken. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing good, man. I've been looking forward to this group. I know you think both the Terrans are gonna make it out.
Well, yeah, they're just the greatest Terrans ever, so.
Royal and Rush, they're the best.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yesterday we saw two really good Protoss players make it out in Bisu and Money. I mean, Mini. Still waiting for that name change, man.
Yeah, that'd be such a great name change. Now, can
Well,
I have to come clean with you?
yeah.
Today, it's gonna be a bit of a mask off situation.
Uh-oh. What does that mean?
Well, um, I've been reading the YouTube comments, and
Mm.
they're, you know, they're not too nice sometimes. Kind of hurts my feelings. And
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking today, because it's always the most pea-brain people that go out of their way to write negative comments on YouTube. So this one's for you guys because I realize, people don't really like, um, it's like in life, people don't really want to know what life is about. They just want someone
Oh.
there to tell them, oh, it's gonna be okay. You know, they don't really know. People don't really want to know what's going on in the game. They just want people to tell them, oh, you should be excited. So today, you know what? I'm gonna double down on my analysis.
Okay.
I'll tell you how it really is going on.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you how it's really gonna go on right from the
Oh,
get-go. Okay. Well, in our first match, Rush versus Motive, that guy right there, that guy's on fire online these days. He
yeah.
gets a lot of sponsored games, in particular versus Light. And what's going to happen to Rush is Motive's going to get to mid and late game. He's going to shuttle bomb this Terran forever, and Rush is going to fall. And in the bottom side, in our second
Mm.
matchup, Royal right there, he's going to try and wall on Dominator, and Sacsri's going to hit him with a Hydra Bust. I can already see it coming. I can already see that today is not going to be a good Terran day. That's my prediction. Yesterday was the worst of the worst for Terran. Both of them got knocked out. In fact, we have 3 Protoss already through, only 1 Terran, and 0 Zergs. Maybe today, finally, Sacsri can put one on the board for Zerg.
Yeah, but there's also 2 6 Zergs waiting in the round of 16. We can't forget about that.
Yeah, I know that.
And Sulky and Hero. And even then, does it really matter? You only need 1 Zerg to win a championship.
And Sulky's
Uh,
that guy.
yeah, Sulky might be that guy. But I don't know. I mean, I think, Motive is such a great player. I can't disagree with you on that. And in a best of one situation, of course, anything can happen. Does Motive have the skill level to take games off of someone like Rush? Of course he does. But I mean, honestly, Rush and Royal are so good. I think Royal probably is a bit more susceptible in terms of, you know, losing early on in the tournament. I remember a couple seasons back. Didn't he bomb out in the round of 24? Wasn't that against the Shine, or was that a round of
Yeah.
16 game already?
Yeah, it was versus Shine on Sylphid, where Shine just dropped him and Royal went a 2-Rex. I mean, you're right. Royal does these volatile builds, but if you snipe units early on, he can just fall apart. So I hope Royal has a macro play, at least 3 barracks, something like that, because if he loses a few units like barracks did in the first day, even though barracks won, I mean, it was looking pretty ugly for barracks. He got really, really lucky.
Well, Sacsri also, we saw him take out Flash one of those seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's what you keep talking about, that big Hydra bus play.
We're going to
Um,
see it. We're going to see it.
some crazy build order. I mean, again, it's best of one, so really anything can happen. But Royal is probably has had the best TVZ. I mean, it's either Royal or JYJ in terms of the highest level TVZ we've seen in the Korean scene for the past let's say, year or two. But Royal TVZ is absolutely out of this world, and like he's just so good at the matchup. But like again, in that matchup, anything can happen.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you mention Royal in particular as having the best Terran versus Zerg because I actually like Rush quite a lot in TVC. Like when I watch Rush on maps that have a lot of open bases, like that season that we had, what was it, like Hidden Stream or Hidden Track? I can't remember the exact name, but I remember watching so many games of him versus Queen, and Rush was literally attacking like 4 or 5 places at the same time while doing
Yeah.
drops, and I'm just like looking at it. I'm like, how? How is this even possible that he can multitask like that? But every Terran at the highest level can multitask like that. Like Light, I've seen a few epic games of him versus Jaedong recently. Royal also can be crazy, crazy good. So I agree. It's going to be a tough matchup for Sacsri here. You know, my actual predictions for the group is Rush and Motive. I think Motive is just too on fire versus Terran, and then like you were talking about Royal, he's very volatile, and you know I hope he has a good day, but he's just so volatile. I can't ever discount that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm rooting here for Motive because he's definitely an up and coming player. I've played him a decent amount of times on the ladder, I think, and I mean he's really really good. And someone like Sacsri has been a pro for a long time, and he also played in StarCraft 2 and everything. So Sacsri's the kind of player that he has a very high level. He's very talented, but I think he doesn't take the competitive side as seriously as he used to. He's a bit older as well. So and but Motive is like this kind of up and coming amateur, and he's definitely he has the potential to drastically improve his skill. So hopefully, maybe today's gonna be his breakout performance.
It could be. It definitely could be. I always root for the newcomers. You know, Wiko Terran on the first day. I was really
Yeah.
hoping that he would do well. In fact, I did like his build order specifically versus Queen, but I mean, again, that was another death group. How are you going to get through two-time ASL champion in your first appearance? You know, it's
Yeah.
just a rough group.
I mean, the I was watching the VODs, those were pretty close games, and when you mentioned Noel, like that's definitely an ID that sticks in my mind. Like I don't really remember playing that guy, but I do remember like a very positive impression of that ID. So some of these like amateur players, man, they're like really really good, but it's so hard to, especially in the Korean scene, it's so hard to break through because um, all these top players are just so good, and you actually need to invest a lot as an amateur to get the practice against them. I know Soma, like he was grinding spawn games for like a year or two before he actually had his breakthrough.
Yeah, it takes a long time, and sometimes you just need a little help. Like you
And a
find
lot of
one,
money.
a lot of money, and you get lucky. Like you find one person that thinks you're good enough to connect you to the other, other pros. Like that's all it takes, but it's so hard to get that one connection because I think I remember, Artosis talking about the tiers of Korean players, like let's use myself and you as an example compared to like Light, right? There's probably like at least 10 tiers of players between us. Light, then, Royal, Rush, Scan, and Noel. There's just so many, and you just need to get someone from the bottom that can connect you to these top players to play some games versus you, or at least spawn versus you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's a lot of talent out there, but it's definitely underdeveloped, especially in the Korean scene. It's not really where the money is, but there are still some of these amateur players that are grinding and trying to come up, and supporting them is super important for the longevity of the scene as well.
Yeah, and then we have an even higher tier player casting right now on the left. I mean, he's he's another high caliber player. Didn't even make it into ASL. I don't even know if he tried, but baby on the left side, he's got the skill because he made it into ASL last season. Now he's on the desk. I'm sure Korean fans are loving his analysis. He's, an amazing player in StarCraft 1, but also in StarCraft 2. And I'm sure he can, bring comparisons from StarCraft 2 to StarCraft 1 to bring over StarCraft 2 fans, which is always nice.
Yeah, he's a sick pillar of Korean StarCraft. So TY, of course, AKA, and well, we have again, like, we're getting ready to get into this group today, and let me know, Nyoken, what are you gonna have for breakfast after this?
I already had a banana, man.
Huh?
That's my go-to on stream days like this. If it's the weekend where I got to stream BSL, I'm hitting up that Papa John's. But at 5:30 in the morning, can't go wrong with a banana and some water.
Banana and some water. Do you
Yeah.
dip your banana in the water, or?
No, that doesn't sound good to me. I'm not a coffee guy or a tea guy or anything. Just straight water, man.
Yeah, that's I'm pretty jealous. You've never had coffee?
No, I don't drink coffee.
But
And
have you had coffee?
I don't like it.
Oh. You try putting in milk and sugar?
I don't like milk either, so that ain't gonna help.
Whoa,
Yeah. Hot takes today already on the desk.
that's crazy. I'm surprised you drink water, man.
It's the healthiest thing to drink, man. You got to go with the water. We're looking at some of the stats. Of the previous stat that we had on the previous screen was 4-3 Rush took down Royal took down Rush. I think back ASL 11 or something where he ended up winning the title. I'm trying to look at the okay, stat here for Royal. You were talking about how good his Zerg matchup is. 63% win rate for him, so crazy high win rate. Then we are getting Sacsri round of 24. He lost twice in season 15 to Terran, so that's a little rough, especially with it being another 2 Terran group. And then Motive, it looks like he beat in the qualifier Terrans 4 times. So that's, like I was saying, he's very good versus Terran these days. He's definitely going to be dangerous in this group. And as far as Rush, I think it says he's got a 100% win rate into making it into the round of 16. So that's pretty much a guarantee that he's going to make it into this round of 16 this season.
Yeah, well, I mean, Rush is just he's he's really good. I think Rush is such an incredible Terran player, and his strength is just being really, really strong mechanically um, uh, and in the macro play. But his weakness is that, he is very cookie cutter. Like, he doesn't really do anything abusive. He's like the most solid player, man. He's probably like the highest skill level, like, Terran player in terms of just raw macro play.
He's definitely really good. We're looking at motive stats here. I can't remember who Pak Sung Ho is, but I recognize the ID like it's a top player on the ladder. But round of 4, you can see he took down Ruin 2-0, and then at the bottom it said he took down Leda 2-0. So actually he just dominated his group 6-0. Just he's in and out, man. He just wants to get this wanted to get that tournament over with and get into the real one.
Yeah, Motive is a super, super talented Protoss player. And I mean, we have, there's definitely a shortage of those in Korean StarCraft. So really rooting for Motive to put on a good show here. But again, like Rush, his TVP is just so incredible, especially um, in tournament settings. Actually, Rush, I think his worst matchup is TVZ, in like especially in ASL. Every time he's lost to Zerg players, high profile games there. But let's get into the game. Dominator is going to be the first map between these two. Game number 1 of Group C.
Okay, well, in the bottom left, we do have Rush. And in the top middle, we've got Motive, and it's already wild, man. This is not what I was expecting. I thought for sure Motive, because he's been playing so well, he would try and play for them in late game. But this is going to be Proxy Gates in his base. And he's going to find him first, which is nice. But is there enough actual space to hide a gateway? I mean, obviously he's done this before, so there must be. But I'm looking at the terrain. I mean, we saw yesterday Dominator has a somewhat large main, but the vision that I see that Rush already has, I guess he's going to hide it on the right side.
Is he going to check that mineral?
Oh, no.
My God.
No way. No way.
Such a mistake. Such a mistake. That's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I cannot believe it. No!
Wow, dude, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in my entire life.
Literally, my heart sunk when I saw that. Rush is going to...
I was gonna say, too.
Rush is literally... we don't know if Motive would win with this, but Rush, when he watches this replay, he's literally saved because of his SCV split. And yeah, that guy in the chair, he knows exactly what's going on. This is Disaster City. It doesn't get worse than this. Proxy double gate off of a not Proxy. Forge plus gateway. This would have been devastating.
That's so funny, man. Oh my God, dude. I feel so bad for Motive, dude.
Motive's gonna cannon this guy and then be like, wait a minute, you're not here. Did you not mind? Were you AFK?
Oh, that's so sad.
I've got my eyes on Motive's camera.
That's so sad.
He's not even coming in. Well, I guess he wants to, wait for this cannon to be complete before he shows himself. But
this would have been such a sick build too. Like I so respect this. Like especially as an amateur player, generally like you won't be shown too much respect. Now he's gonna see it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it actually doesn't have any reaction, which is surprising. You know what's also funny also is there's no reaction from Rush. Like, if you think about it from his point of view, he's probably like, wait, what? What am I missing here? You don't have anything in your main. There's no Zealot at my base yet. You're not building probes, so what is this?
Yeah, the only reason he's not leaving is because it's a tournament game. And I can almost guarantee you, like, it's not even about, like, I mean, it's so hard to leave because it's broadcasted like this, and it's because it's the ASL. Like, you would never want to just GG out, but in any world, like, this would be an instant GG. Any world. This is literally just, like, such a formality that Motive will still try and play this out, but there's no follow-up here whatsoever. There's nothing, there's no silver lining here. Absolutely not.
No chance of... Yeah, look at Rush. He's scouting the bottom side of the map because he's still confused. Yeah, he's like, what is this? Like,
he's still mining gas. Look at that. He's got like 250 gas. He doesn't even want to expand. Like, I mean, you know what the silver lining is that Terran will never understand what's going on. And he is gonna, like, I mean, he's definitely not gonna cut corners here, but I just don't know what Protoss could do, honestly.
Yeah, Terran's still looking for that first gate. I think at this point, he may have thought that Motive proxy gated plus 12 next, not 12 next, I still don't know, but we've got the first Vulture coming out, and like you said, there's zero chance of Motive winning this game. But for his sake, I hope he's got a cannon in his main. Otherwise, Vulture is going to get in and kill everything.
Yeah. This is just the kind of mistake you can make as like an amateur, and you don't have that much experience to playing on the big stage. Like,
oh, it couldn't have gone worse. Imagine putting down 3 depots for a wall, and the Vulture still gets in.
Wow, did you see Rush's reaction? He's so he's so confused.
Yeah, Yeah, I hope the camera guy just
He's
keeps it
watching
on
the
his face.
replay right now. He's watching the replay right now.
Yeah, I hope they keep the camera on him so that we can just see, like, the oh moment for him. He still doesn't realize.
Yeah. I think he's probably gonna have a smirk in a second. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, at
it's
least.
right there. Yeah, he realizes. Okay, so for you guys out there playing the ladder and you do not have Dominator vetoed, yeah, there we go.
Oh my God.
Do not mind that top patch. Just that's the counter. Don't mind it.
You know dude, that I oh, dude, I feel so bad for Motive, but I think any player would feel the same. I think we're all on the same page on this one. We know exactly what happened, and those games happen. It's just so unfortunate that it's in this tournament on stage. Like,
Yeah, this is
oh,
crazy. You know,
that's so sad.
the top patch on a lot of maps like Polypoid,
Yeah.
Radion, you can boost them. So for him to go to the bottom patch, you see that? I don't think that bottom patch mines as effectively as the top one. And Terran players are very diligent about what patches to mine. So literally, if this was replayed, Rush may have mined that patch and he would have been in trouble because I don't actually think he scouted his main. And I mean, when you're facing Zealot Pressure with cannons behind it,
Oh, that's a really strong
yeah, it's
build.
hard. It's hard to stop. It's almost impossible. And that bunker where he actually built it at the top of his refinery, that would have not helped him when Motive was coming through the bottom right side of his base.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it does happen. What can you do? Unfortunate for Motive, but we are gonna go into a break, guys. Coming back, we will have Royal versus Sacsri. So stay tuned.
All right, we are back. We just saw Motive, unfortunately, scout incorrectly, and Rush got a pretty easy win, 5-minute game. Now we're going to be going into our second match, which I think is going to be pretty interesting. We've got Royal facing off versus Sacsri once again, going to be on Dominator.
Yeah, and exciting matchup here. I think, of course, we've seen Sacsri in the past take out Flash to advance from the group stage, so definitely possible for an upset. But I mean, I think Royal is such a heavy favorite going into this. It's TVZ. Royal is just an absolute. He's like the pinnacle of TVZ. Again, him and JYJ, especially as far as like the ASL statistics. So it's going to be a very difficult matchup here for Sacsri.
Yep, Sacsri is a big-time macro player, though. So if he can get his econ rolling and get into that Hydra Lurker, I think he's got a good shot versus Royal. As you mentioned, Royal, fantastic versus Zerg, 63% win rate. Pretty nuts. I mean, basically his win rates are flipped from Rush's. Rush had a 61% win rate versus Protoss. I think his weakest was versus Zerg. You can see Royal also a champion of ASL. I think that was like 4 seasons ago, something like that. It's been a while.
Yeah, but he played so incredibly well that season. That was the season where he TVT'd Rush in the final, and he TVZ'd Solkey in the semifinal. And those games, the games against Solkey were absolutely incredible. Both players were they were like on another level, and it was kind of juxtaposed with Rush versus Hero on the other side. And I just remember like the TVZs looked so differently. Even the ZVTs, I mean, Solkey was playing out of his mind at that time as well. So anyway, I mean, like Royals TVZ is just it's something else, man. It's always amazing to watch.
Well, it looks like our players are about to be ready as we get into second match of the day. We'll see if Royal can continue the trend with Terran getting victory, or if Sacsri can make a potential upset. His win rate versus Terran was near 40%. If you can get around 40 to 50% in ASL, I mean, that's pretty freaking good. So definitely can't count him out. You know, actually, I played some ladder games yesterday after knowing that the ladder got reset, trying out the new maps, Kickback, Deja Vu. What else did I play? Is that it? I think I played Pantheon one time. You know, that Kickback map, I got a vertical spawn. That is such a close rush distance. Like, this guy was at my base in like 15 seconds. There's no wonder that
Yeah.
that map gets vetoed a lot of times in this round of 24.
Yeah, it's a very very weird map as we go into the countdown here, Dominator, for again this first game, but the second game of the group. Um, yeah, I'll let you do the introductions now.
Thank you. So in the mid right, we've got our Terran, and actually, when I was thinking about this match, I envisioned Royal spawning at mid right, and Sacsri we've got in the top left. Now this map, wallable. We've seen the wall coming back now that Flash is back, walling Apocalypse very often. I expect to see the same thing here, and the question is how will Sacsri respond? Trying to figure out what those signs say. Couldn't read it exactly. One of them was a Terran fan, so must be rooting for Royal.
I really like this map. I just can't believe, like, you know, at first glimpse, I thought it was a 4-player map because I just assumed it's Gladiator, but Gladiator as a 3-player map, I mean, 3-player maps are just really kind of peak StarCraft in my mind. And for this map, I mean, it's awesome to see this. I would love to play this map, actually.
I think this
is probably pretty imbalanced, though. Like, three-player maps with a reverse ramp is like, it's almost as insane as a 2-player map with reverse ramp.
Well, I think it's going to be a good map because, you know, my issue with Gladiator was how hard it was to get a 4th base. What, it's an overpool?
Yeah, but this is a command center.
Oh, it's over. Okay, I didn't realize that it was queued up SCVs. Well, all right, Guy, we're speed running today. We had a failed gateway cannon rush. Well, you know, I'm not going to say it's over yet because I ate my words on that Apocalypse game of JYJ. Is it a walled in?
It's really good, actually, for Terran. I mean, it's not really good. It's salvageable. I think generally in this situation, Zerg will only make 2 to 4 lings. I love this from Sacsri, though, and for a second, the thing about Royal in TVZ is his likelihood of doing a non-11 racks build, but specifically 8 racks and command center first, is so high that a lot of Zergs kind of pay that overpool tax against him. But this time around is gonna actually be in Sacsri's favor. Now he definitely has to send the links to Royal though, and here's the thing though, like he can't make 6 links, right? Like he doesn't know what Terran's doing. For all he knows, Terran could still be on an 11 racks. So just the standard amount, 4 links. Actually, sometimes you even go 2 links here. Is it going to be enough? I mean, Terran can hold here, but they will definitely lose SCVs, and it's all about how many workers is he going to lose. But he's definitely going to be behind. Like, this is really not good for Terran.
It's also pretty fast lair for an overpool. And here we go, 4 links, hello. SCV just now going to see, well, there's lings in my base. And, well, SCVs are strong, and like you said, since it's only 4 lings, there is a chance that he can hold this. And the first Marine gets out. Okay, those Marines are already surrounded. So he already lost 1. And it looks like this isn't going to do much damage.
I mean, he's pulling a lot of SCVs. Look, he actually sent 1 ling at the bottom to make sure that the command center is not landing. This is doing a lot more damage than you would expect, because it's just slowing down the Terran. He did kill 1 SCV, possibly 2. Did cause some mining time disruption.
Oh, no.
And he's causing, like, he's preventing this command center from landing, and Terran's completely blind. He doesn't know what's following up. Like, is this more drones? Is this more links? So much pressure here onto the Terran.
I don't know what to think about Sacsri's follow-up, man. He went for a fast lair, like he could have gone. He's going into Spire, but he's also building more links. So this is going to be an all-in. He could have just, you know, transitioned to a little bit better econ, but now he's going to probably run by. I can't imagine him trying to kill this bunker.
But the thing is, the Spire is so fast in this situation that he's putting on so much pressure. Like, he just needs to delay the Terran. The eBay is not started. You know, the Spire is probably halfway done at this point. There's no way this eBay is starting. The Academy's not started. Like, this is such a disaster for Terran. Just everything about the build order is behind here for Terran, and, like, the mutas are on the way soon.
Okay, these lings... I guess with this, I didn't realize he already had speed, so just running by the bunker kills a handful of lings and denies the Academy. And like you said, there's no eBay. This Spire is about to be done in like 10 seconds, something like that. Another Marine is going to fall. Now, Gypsy, I haven't been in this scenario very often, but Marines, no range, no stem, no eBay.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Not very good.
Not good.
Well, he's dead.
I think he is dead. If he's not dead... we need to get a hold of this replay to figure out how he held with no upgrades, no turrets, no bunker in his main.
That's a lot of drones too at the Nat, so it's not like, I mean, he's gonna be on 2 or 3 mining drones out on the minerals. Well, Terran can definitely spam turrets and kind of stay in the game for a bit. I don't know. I mean, if this was any other Zerg, you know, that traditionally would be equally matched against Royal, I would say, I mean, this game, for sure, Zerg's gonna come out ahead, but there's like a slight chance Terran can somehow stabilize this position, but he's so far behind. I mean, the Academy just started blinking, and that's probably... I don't even know what's better at this point, the Ranger Stim, but it's gonna be such a long time before he gets both those upgrades.
I actually think range is probably the better one, because at least you can do a little bit of damage from a distance. Now, when you're in a situation like this, I mean, in my opinion, there's only one option, which is you've got to rush tech and pray that you can somehow hold with your just 2 racks. If he goes into 3 or 4 racks, I'd be very surprised. This depot is 100% dead, but in my opinion, killing this depot is kind of a gift for Royal, because that means he's not harassing the Marines, he's not harassing the SCVs, it's just buying him time to actually get his infrastructure up.
Yeah, but from Zerg's perspective, they want to be massing up the mutalist count, so while he only has 6 mutas, like 6 mutas don't do anything. So if anything they can hit is valuable, and now that he has 9 mutas, he can actually go and trade for the turrets. I mean, honestly, Royal's doing a really good job of staying alive. Like, in most games, the mutas would come out, the turrets wouldn't be out, and the game would have been over by now. But this is just, again, snowballing. Like, it doesn't look like Zerg is immediately winning, but once he gets a 11 muta count, and I mean, he's taking some insane trades here. Like, he actually went for stim, no range, and you can kind of see how poorly the Marines fight, and the Academy goes down. I mean, this game's done, man.
It is super over. I think in a normal game where Royal wasn't panicking, that Academy would not have been positioned like that. You know, in retrospect, he needed to have it where the eBay was so that it wouldn't get picked off. But now it's like 3 Marines versus, what, 7 Mutalisks. They one-shot the Marines, one-shot SCVs. Look at that, even from downtown, Steph Curry gets that SCV. Now he says, you know what, I've had enough of the main, let me get the natural too.
Yeah. I mean, classic TVZ, and I think Royal, that's his undoing. Like, he does go for abusive builds often. And abusive as in, you know, yeah, I mean, is that the best way to term it? Just higher variance builds where he wants to get a small advantage through the build order. And it comes to bite him sometimes, and a lot of players know this about him. Like, you know, most Zergs, they don't even open 12 hatch against Royal. He's so, like, especially in the tournament environment, like, he's gonna ARAX you so often, he's gonna go command center first so often, that even someone who's, let's say, percentage-based, like, disadvantaged against him, as Sacsri would be, even Sacsri opts to go for an overpull, like, playing safe against someone that otherwise is favored against him.
Well, here we go, another round of Needless, immediate cancel onto that depot. That's a really clutch surround on the turret, but it's still not enough. There's just too many Needless. Sacsri also not even all in with this. He has his third base up and running at mid-right, so, I mean, even if Royal doesn't die here, he will die in a few minutes. It's just a matter of when does the GG come out. More SCVs end up dying. There's like another 5 gone. It's just, okay, finally this is a good interception, but it's still only killed 1 muta.
Yeah, he's just killing so many SCVs. I mean, you can see the supplies. Like, this is completely awful for Terran. He has no tech. He has nothing. So it's just a slow, painful death here. And, well, I guess the viewers are going to be spared a TBT, even though I would have loved to watch Royal versus Rush. That would have been an incredible game. Yeah. But we are going to have, like, some sick games coming up then. Like, I mean, Moda versus Royal, that's going to be a lot of fun. Rush versus Sacsri, that's the difference between Rush and Royal. Like, Rush would never do something like this.
Well, Royal also 6-raxes too. Like, he goes the full spectrum. Yeah. Like, literally. I mean, I've seen Rush. Everybody knows that you've got to 8-rax at the highest level, but I don't think I've ever seen him 6-rax. And this was, again, actually a pretty good trade for Royal. He gets 4 Mutalisks. It really doesn't get better than that. But 10:30 into the game, 29 supply. You know, this is not a Zerg versus Zerg. I don't think Terran can win with 29 supply. And we finally see some lurkers. Once the lurkers get out, this has got to be the nail in the coffin. If it isn't, he's got Hive behind it, so Defiler will 100% win the game. Yeah.
I mean, playing the game out because it is the ASL. You know, you got to put on a show. You know, these organizers, they don't pay they don't pay to see someone GG as soon as they know. You know, honestly, guys, like the players know. They know very early whether the game is winnable or not. But you know, especially like the Korean scene, the Korean players, they know how important it is to put on a good show. To just have good viewership and get everyone involved, right? So they're gonna play this out until it's over. But I mean, Royal is so mega dead.
Well, he's doing everything he should do, which is bunker. He even puts the racks in, or the factory in front to, you know, limit the angle that the lurkers can come in. I mean, this is as much as you can do as Terran. He can't afford tanks. He wasn't even mining gas in his main, so I think we're about 2 minutes away that Defiler Mound puts a clock on him. He needs
Yeah, this is a bit excessive, you know. This
Yeah.
is like an Artosis GG.
Yeah, this is fantasy. There we go. Okay, the GG comes out finally, and that means, like you said,
It's always at such a random time too. Like, oh, now that he killed a couple more SCVs, he's out of the game. You
yeah,
know, like.
I would have GG'd when I saw that it was a pool first in my base. But I
Yeah.
definitely, if I didn't GG there because maybe I have a clutch SCV and Marine surround, then the second run by that just went in my main and killed everything, that would have immediately triggered it because, like we all know, Zerg's not going 3-hatch behind it. They're not, like, they're always going to be rushing Spire, and if I don't have stem and range and turrets, I'm never going to survive versus that. So that would have been the GG for me. But I actually thought he was going to wait until he got vessels. But I don't even,
Yeah.
vessels obviously wouldn't have even saved the game. He would have needed to rush a nuke and nuke the lurkers.
Yeah, no, he should have nuked the mutas, just like leading
Yeah.
shot. Yeah. I think once the academy went down, that was really the nail in the coffin. But really good showing there for Sacsri. He does pull off the upset. We are. Is this gonna be a break or?
We've got the Live
Yeah.
Mobile advertisement.
I mean, well, Sacsri did it, you know. So again, he's definitely the underdog in that matchup, but Royal, he does have a tendency to, he likes keeping his range wide. And this is important too for like later in the tournament or like just as the player, like even if you drop a game like that, when you're likely to go some insane build versus someone that you're favored against, other players will also be respecting your range in the future. So, a lot of these players do think in that way as well.
Yeah, it's like poker. You got to bluff a few times. I would actually be curious because, clearly we remember the games of Royal Six Raxing and doing moves like this. But I'd be curious if we compiled, like, let's say 100 or 200 of his sponsored games. How many times does he actually play these huge variance builds? Like, is it actually, 50-50, or is it, something like
Oh,
10 to 20%, or, and we just remember these because, they're so wild.
yeah, yeah. The bias is what you're talking about for sure. But I actually am pretty confident that I mean Royal is the type of player to 8 racks probably 40% of the time at least. 35-40% of the time.
Well, that's how Rush used to be, because I remember watching, a lot of StarCast games. It felt like Rush was 8-raxing like every single time. And then lately in ASL, I don't think I've seen many 8-raxes from Rush in particular.
Well, we are gonna have that matchup come up soon, Rush versus
Hmm.
Sacsri. So I mean, we're gonna see, and that's always an interesting mind game because, of course, Rush just saw Sacsri go for something like an overpool. Sacsri knows he's showed that, so is it like I mean, for example, I think Sacsri is just gonna 12 hatch against Rush. So if I'm Rush, do I 8 racks there? Probably. That's as if I was playing, I would go 8 racks. So we'll see how that plays out. But 8 racksing also depends on the if it's a 4-player map or not. Because like if you 8 racks on a 4-player map and you get the build loader advantage, right? Like against 12 hatch, if it's cross spawn, like it's not you're maybe even 45-55 in that situation. So
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to maps. Like I said, I was playing on Kickback and Deja Vu, and I guess maybe I played one game on Dominator, if I remember correctly. I wonder what maps will get vetoed. Yesterday we were hoping to get Monty Hall in our final match, but
yeah,
that got struck down by both players.
Monty Hall did.
The only games that I remember of Monty Hall are back when Flash
Yeah, the
first
Flash
came.
game.
Yeah, when Flash first started making appearance, where he just was cheesing everybody, like on Medusa when he was jumping an SCV over Bisu's main base, and then Same thing on Monty Hall, like sent 2 SCVs if I remember correctly, built a refinery and then mined out the minerals and then just hit him with the barracks, double barracks attack.
People are so mad on TL.
Yeah. Who
They're
is this
like
guy?
this cheesy noob.
Yeah.
I remember when he beat Boxer on Python.
Yeah, on Python. And that was a straight up game. Like, that was a
Yeah.
pretty good game because he just kept like, both players kept scanning each other's drops. It's like they both knew they had drops,
It's
but
just
they
so
neither.
wild how we both remember these insane games like from years ago.
Yeah. Well,
That's the magic of this game, man.
what's funny about that is because, Flash is one of the youngest players, yet he was still playing in the Boxer era.
Yeah.
Slightly older Boxer era, but he was still there.
He was good back then.
Who,
At that
Boxer?
time still. Yeah, he was still decent, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was like a split map Python game where both players were just mirroring each other.
Remember the Boxer played that this game on Blue Storm when he was in the military?
Marine Medic.
Yeah, and he had like some insane like wall fake thing. You know what
Yeah,
I'm talking about?
I don't
I
remember the
forget what the
wall.
matchup that was. Wasn't it a TVT?
Yeah, it was versus Haya.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. I like how we remember the same games. Yeah, he just killed a Marine medic in TVT, right? Like that was it?
Yeah. Yeah, and what's funny about that is that Marine Medic game is, I think when Remastered came out, back when the pros started streaming, Boxer was streaming a little bit and Best was streaming also, and they were playing on Outsider, and Best off raced as Terran and got Boxer on the ladder, and Boxer just went and killed him with Marine Medic also. I was
That's
like,
so funny.
okay, we've got Boxer still just trolling 20 years later.
Yeah, that was a time, man. I remember even they were also streaming on Twitch. Like that's crazy.
Queen's still streaming on Twitch, man.
Yeah, I think he forgets it. It's probably it's probably on his like restreaming program, and he just forgets about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that the Koreans were like banned from Twitch. I think the
They're
only
definitely
way.
not banned. They
Oh, they're
just
not
don't.
banned?
No, they just don't get paid. Like they just can't get paid.
Oh, I see.
But they're not banned. I hope when Soma comes back, he still streams on Twitch. It's really sad because honestly, if they all streamed on Twitch, like it would have been like Brood War would be doing so well. Remember, I mean, when KSL was running, like that was a really good tournament.
KSL was a good tournament, but we're going to be going into a break and then we'll be back with our third match. And we are back, about to get into the winner's match, which will be Rush facing off versus Sacsri. And what are the bans? We have Minstrel banned from both sides, and we get Kickback.
Yeah, Kickback. Well, that's the map where there's like the double base inside your choke, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And also those bases, overlook the pathway towards your main. So like as Terran, if you plop tanks there, I mean it's just free damage where you're not getting hit back. I really do think that this is gonna be a strong Terran map in general, but historically a lot of Zergs really do like maps like this because you get immediate 3 gas and all of a sudden strategies like Crazy Zerg is really, really strong.
Yeah, Kickback is definitely, well, I don't want to start going on this. Well, actually, no, we can do on this rant. It's definitely of that archetype, right? Of, what's it called? As we get into this game is what I mean. Because who needs introductions and countdowns, guys? We're just gonna talk straight through this. Kickback is part of that. What was that map called? Blockchain.
Yep.
As Rush spawns in the top right as the red Terran and Sacsri as the blue Zerg in the top left. But Blockchain was the first such map in this kind of archetype map. Then Nemesis is also one of those types of maps. Like, it's just... And what I talk about this archetype, I mean the layout that we're seeing here. And what was the point I was trying to make? Those maps were actually quite good for something like Crazy Zerg, and they weren't really like the most Terran-friendly maps, at least. But I don't know if it's because of the versus Zerg matchup or primarily versus the versus Protoss matchup, because in general I found that this archetype of map is not so fun to play on. But this map specifically is really interesting because there's no like... It's much easier to expand this Terran on the map like this. I actually think this seems pretty good to play, like you were mentioning for Terran. And you even get that full, like, that's like a full wall, right? But those mineral patches, I think they're only 8.
Yeah, there's not much there. So you can get those mined out. In fact, I think Askia sent me a clip of him walling off versus Protoss, and he's like, "What are you gonna do now, Protoss?" And then he mined out the mineral, and he's like, "Oh, just die."
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about when I was saying it. Cool. 12 patch. See, but damn. See, I called the 12 round. Yeah, but I think this map that you can't actually 8 racks on it. Like you can't. Well, where are you going with the 8 racks? What are you bunkering?
I guess that is true. You can't bunker, but you could still like pressure their main, right? I don't know if you would want to commit that far though.
No, but like if you lose the threat of just bunkering the Nat, I mean, of course, not every 8-Rax game. I mean, very rarely does an 8-Rax game end because you're bunkering the Nat. But strategically, like, it plays around the threat of doing that. And this is actually 3 hatch before pool.
Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, I guess when there's no threat of 8-Racks, you can just get away with stuff like this. So this is as good as it gets for Sacsri. You cannot get a better opener. And also, Rush scouts him last. So
yeah,
this is the ideal opener. Now, everybody knows Rush is a bio player, but if there's ever a game to go mech, I mean, what's a better map than this? You get immediate 3 base, immediate 3 gas. I actually think that this is already going to be Crazy Zerg because of like what other reason do you need this 3rd gas so fast for?
This is such a good opening for Sacsri. I mean, Rush not only can he not put pressure on, he also went for the double depot before command center, so he's just like, you know, at a build order disadvantage here. So you can see he's gonna push out with 1 Marine to try and just inconvenience the Zerg, but even this Marine is quite late.
Yeah, I don't see how this is going to do any damage. That's probably a Ling being built right now. And so this is just going to be... Well, he forces a sunken, so I guess that's something. Because the drone didn't get in, even though Rush is, I've never seen him play 1-1-1 or mech. And Sacsri's respecting the fact that this could have been a weird one base.
Yeah, I mean, if it's Royal, like, this is the thing with Rush, is he's just going to play the most cookie-cutter possible strategy ever. This is going to be a +1 eBay. Now, Zerg doesn't know that yet. But he does see that with the Overlord, he can spot that Terran has made 3 Marines at, like, a standard cadence. So that rules out a lot of very weird openings. And you can kind of put Terran on something like, a bio build, or maybe like a delayed mech build, or like a, 1 Rax expand into mech. That's still possible.
That's Hydrogen, by the way, in the top middle base.
Wow.
Oh, I got the player wrong earlier today, Gypsy. Didn't I say that we're gonna have a Hydra bus into a wall versus Royal, but it's gonna be a Hydra bus into Rush.
I don't think, thinking about it, I don't think I've ever seen Rush mech. Ever.
Yeah, he never does. It's surprising that he never plays it.
Yeah, he's never, ever mech. Ever. Remember there was an arc when Light was playing only mech?
I do know that. I do remember that. That phase where Sylphid was in the map pool, we had mech switches and just straight up mech openers, and then I think it was Soma just showed like, no, you can't do that. I'm gonna have a million Hydras and Queens. Doesn't matter whether I have Ensnare or Broodling. You're just dead, man. You're not. That's not an allowed build.
Yeah. So this Hydra bust, it's coming. I mean, this is the timing. That he has to do something with it, because once the racks kick in, this is going to be really good for Terran, but he can kill 2 depots, which is like massive value.
Yeah, but depot's not all that he wants. He wants the whole shebang here. But I don't know if he's actually going to be able to bust through, because there's a lot of Marines here. They do have stim also, but he could kill a barracks, like what Queen did to barracks on, what was it, Deja Vu.
Hydras are actually really strong in this matchup.
Well, they are, but they're really not that strong right now. So he gets a double depot, but that was obviously not worth. And in fact, now that he's held, Rush has a good response. Like, he's already got his factory done with an add-on. So tanks are exactly what you want in a scenario like this.
Man, like, Sacsri, I don't know if he was expecting to just end I mean, he has the transitions here as well. He's just going to play Hydra Lurk for sure. And honestly, though, he's gone... Okay, he's going to lose 1 Overlord. This is massive value, man. He killed 2 depots and a barracks. Marine Medic is strong, but when Zerg opens with something like 3 hash before pool, they have massive production going. Hydras are actually really, really good. But surprisingly here, Rush is just going to push out. And Sacsri's going to respect him, but I honestly think with the Hydra upgrades, he could have fought these Marine Medic.
I think he could if he had really stellar micro. Wow, he's actually going for it. And actually, Sunkens are backfiring. The Hydras can't get almost any surface area. Look how fast they die. We went from 10 Hydras down to 3.
I think Sacsri really misplayed, honestly. Like, if he just waited for... Well, this game's over. That's so weird, man.
That's definitely... Go ahead.
No, whatever.
I was gonna say, we went from Hydras being so strong to all of a sudden we're dead within 10 seconds. The only saving... Go ahead.
He 100%... That was 100% misplay. Like, he can just wait, you can just position your Hydras in the line and just pick off, kind of play like Dragoons, and just target Marines, and, it's really hard for the Terrans to just move their Marines properly. Whatever. But this isn't how it should have went at all.
I also was expecting him to have a better focus fire on the Marines, but that Sunken just was not in the greatest position. Now a hatchery dies. He's got one lurker morphing on the left side, but that may not even complete as the Marines stim in here. The medics have good energy now. He's focusing. Yeah, it's just GG. It's over.
That was really poorly played by Sacsri, to be honest with you. It actually makes no sense there because he literally has a 3-hatch, like a 3-hatch no pool opener, and he is playing against a 2-raxing Terran. You shouldn't need to rely on Sunks to defend a 2-rax push there. Like, you can overwhelm that Marine medic count with Hydras. And if his plan is to play Hydra Lurk, because he did get that early Evo chamber as well, it just makes no sense to fall back and respect the 2-racks like that. Especially after you kill double depot and the racks. Like, just such a missed opportunity to see like a cool game from Zerg.
Well, I liked Rush's reaction, just smirking at another victory. Really quick game for him. The +1 was really strong here, obviously. And this is obviously, like, look how many Hydras he has. He has 12 Hydras plus a Sunken, but they just funnel in 3-4 at a time. Half of the Hydras aren't even in the battle. Then he comes in again and they just get mowed down.
Yeah, but I mean, he should have been more confident with these Hydras.
It looks like that Sunken placement at the front is, if he had a vertical line, he wouldn't have been clumped up like that.
But he should have had a vertical line with the Hydras outside of the Terran's main. And just, again, like, you know how Protosses delay with goons? You can do similar tactics with Hydras. Like, but he just let him come up to his Sunks that weren't even finished. And then the problem with making Sunks is they're just very expensive. That's 3 drones. That could have been 3 Hydras. And, like, in these situations, the Hydras can just focus fire the Marines, like, when you have so many of them.
And as the observer's pointing out, Sacsri didn't have range. Well, that's why. Yeah, everybody knows, if you don't have range, whether it's Goon, Marine, Hydra, there's a clear distinction between when you have it and when you don't.
Yeah, well, because he thought, I think his intention was just that, and that's what I was trying to ask. Like, did he think he was going to just end the game with those Hydras?
Well, I
like,
don't know.
Was he not expecting to play from not killing the Terran there? Because that's the impression I'm getting.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it must have been one of those. He probably clicked the upgrade, but had spent his money and it never got upgraded.
Because that transition is just not like, if you go Hydra bust and then if you do some opening like that and then your follow up is, I'm just gonna go play mutas and then lurkers. Like you might as well play a more aggressive version of the Hydras and just fully commit to the all-in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. That was not the best game.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a blunder for Sacsri, but at least he's in the deciders match. At least it wasn't the losers match where he's just out, so he'll have another shot at it. But Rush, well, he got a couple gifts. First, the motive game.
Both these games were gifts, man.
Yeah, that's what I was about
so
to say.
Happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the easiest rounds that he's ever gotten in the ASL. Luck was just on his side. That motive scouted incorrectly, and then Sacsri missed range. So, I still think Rush was probably the favorite of the group, but it's always nice to be given games like this, especially when you only have to play twice.
Yeah, and he didn't have to play Royal, which, remember, he did lose to Royal in that final.
Yeah, he did. He lost. I mean, it was a really close series, 4-3, but still lost.
Yep. So, very fortunate for Rush. But again, all things considered, he is the favorite in this group. He has been the best performer out of all of these players. Kind of surprising to get him and Royal in the same group as well. I mean, Royal is at that top tier, but just tends to... Don't they, like, put tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 players?
I thought that's what they did, and I think actually Rush must be a tier 2 or Royal must be
Rush
a tier 2.
is definitely tier 1 because he's he's like really high rank in ASL points. I think I think it's Royal that's tier 2, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, imagine you win ASL and you're still not tier 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's I can't believe he's tier 2. That's crazy. But I mean, we kind of see why. He does. I mean, he randomly lost to Sacsri there because of his insane range. So we'll see. I mean, Royal will definitely be able to bounce back, but he's gonna have a difficult time against Motive if Motive can bring his A game. But we know for these amateur players that don't have much experience in ASL, especially, they tend to have a difficult time just translating their skill on stage. It takes a lot of experience to play comfortably like that. And we saw his inexperience kind of show in the first game where he proxied the wrong main.
Yeah, that was just really unfortunate for him. I was looking at the chat. People were talking about how actually the Korean commentators were also saying that Rush got lucky by not optimally mining his base, and it could have been a different story if that had happened. And Motive would have proxied the right base, and then potentially we could have had we could have had Motive versus Sacsri in the finals, but not the case. We get another Terran through, and looks like interview with our winner is done. So we're going to be going into a break, and then we'll be back with Royal versus Motive. And we are back. This is our losers match. It's going to be between Royal and Motive. So PVT. Oh, and I was just thinking this. I was thinking, please, can we get a minstrel game? And we are going to get one because Royal vetoed Kickback and Motive vetoed Deja Vu. So this will be our first minstrel game of the tournament.
Yeah. I'm excited to see this map in action. A lot of very interesting maps this season. I'm happy that they are updating the map pools, though.
Yeah, they just updated it a couple days ago, and we're getting a look at how Minstrel is laid out. You can see that there's, a big pathway through the center with the bridges, but there's all these minerals around the map that kind of create pathways once they're mined out. But obviously, in the early stages of the game, these bases are not going to be mined out. So there's, in my opinion, going to be a lot of counterattacks going on. I can already see it. Somebody takes like top right, for example. They attack through the center, but the opponent comes from the top side and just takes down that base potentially. But, if you push through the center, you're also going to have the bridge that you can use to help, hit from a distance. So I feel like probably something like 6 or 7 fact could be potentially pretty strong on here.
Yeah, and always with these maps, there's the early stages. Of course, by this time, I think the players have a lot of games played.
I'm looking at the graphic. If you can read it at the bottom right, it says StarCraft 2 ladder map. I think this is translated as Terraform. I guess I would have to go look at what this StarCraft 2 map is, but any StarCraft 2 viewers out there may recognize this map is looking similar to that one.
Yeah, this kind of looks like a StarCraft 2 layout. You have, multiple lanes. You attack right, attack left.
And also StarCraft 2 maps are like always 2-player maps, aren't they? Because I thought that it was too big of an advantage to have one player find you first and you don't find them first, if I'm not mistaken.
It's because the people that play StarCraft 2, they're psychotic. They think that you have to, I mean, it's part of their, like, it's like the players that play that, they all think like, oh, we got to reduce randomness like 100%. So we don't want any randomness, even in terms of like scouting. And that translated to like map making like this, and it makes the game way worse. But whatever. Game number 4. Group C losers, Royal versus Motive.
Alrighty, in the bottom right, we do have Royal. And in the top left, I already noticed there's no probe being sent out. It is Motive. Well, 2-player map. And actually, Motive got the good spawn where Royal's gas is towards the ramp, so it makes it even easier to gas steal. We'll see if he wants to go for the gas steal. I can't imagine him not wanting to go for it, but some players don't care. They just go about their business, just play a normal game. There goes the probe. You knew it was coming. Is this gonna be forward gate? No.
Gas steal. Very standard on 2-player maps. You should always gas steal as Protoss. If you're not gas stealing, you should be 12 nexusing. And then maybe you can have some very deep meta mind game just opening normal inside your base, but generally that's very suboptimal for Protoss on 2-player maps.
Well, I didn't see additional queued up. Yeah, I didn't see additional queued up probes. That is just gonna be normal gate. And Royal is someone that will cut his 10th SCV to make sure he gets his gas, but not going to be the case just yet. Motive, there's
very risky. Very risky to cut here because you don't know if Protoss is proxying or not.
Yeah, and it's very common from Koreans, especially on maps like this. Dark Origin, Eclipse, you're getting proxied all the time.
Yeah, against a proxy gate, you actually just don't want to take your gas ever. So you would prefer just defending with 2 racks. So these days, actually, Terrans can also opt to just not take their gas, and it's a totally valid way to play.
And that looks like that's going to be the case as he puts down the depot. And Motive, I thought, was going to build his gas, but that is not a probe. That was a pylon up there. So I guess he's going to go gate Nexus unless gas comes down in a moment.
Yeah, gate Nexus is the most standard follow-up to a gas steal, and it's very stable, very safe, puts on pressure. Looks like he queued a second Zealot though, so the Nexus isn't going to be the fastest. But at the same time, with this SCV here, it's really annoying because the SCV can fight the probe for a while. The SCV can also put down an eBay, which Royal is not doing.
I've seen even Royal do some moving shots with the SCV, but doesn't want to tango with that probe anymore. He sees the Nexus come down, and he also spotted the second Zealot. There's no bunker.
Well, yeah, but he does have 3 Marines and an SCV here.
Okay, Motive. Oh, Motive got through there. Got past that first SCV. Now it's high ground. there enough DPS? Oh, we got 2 Marines. That's
Ooh,
3 Marines.
That's really good.
That's amazing. And now, yeah, Panic Bunker.
Yeah, he needs to put down the bunker. I mean, so far, the thing is the follow-up Zealot can do so much damage because killing the Marines there means he can just run by the bunker and just continuously... I think that's the 3rd Zealot coming from Motive as well. He can just keep rallying these Zealots and just cause a lot of disruption. Like, the Royal's going to have to pull SCVs here to fight against the Zealot. It's going to slow down his economy. Another Zealot is on the way as well. The factory hasn't, you know, he's not even mining gas. But actually, he's going to deal with this Zealot just fine now. And I was going to say that Royal didn't actually eBay block the natural from the Protoss player, but his command center was put down so early, and he defended that, the 2nd Zealot especially, so efficiently, that I think Terran's in a really good spot here.
I think Terran's in an okay spot. Terran did have to build a lot of Marines. And yes, Protoss did build 3 Zealots, I see, but the Zealots can still be useful later on when you inevitably go for the Reaver play, which I'm sure at some point Motive will go for. We see the factory just now starting. Cybernetics basically finished, and uh-oh, SCV died right when Cybernetics finishes, and now all of a sudden we could have some shenanigans from Motive if he wants to get frisky here, go into something like DT drop.
Yeah, the only issue is that this tech is so late. Well, I mean, just how... It's not that it's late, but just how the build orders match up. Terran will always be able to cover detection. That's generally the drawback from gasless openings for Protoss specifically. Like, they can't really threaten anything as a follow-up, so Terran will usually always get an academy in this situation, and it's always going to be on time. So Royal doesn't really have to think at all about what Protoss is doing. He's just doing his own build.
Well, look at this. Oh my goodness. Well, this is going to trigger a veto for me of Minstrel. If I see a goon just walking by my bunker, obviously the bunker is misplaced there. It must probably needed a little bit higher and to the left. But as you mentioned, that Academy and Armory both coming down at the same time for Royal, so he'll be able to scan and see what's going on in just a moment.
Yeah, the bunker placement is such an X factor, actually, especially on 2-player maps, and when you're dealing with Zealot pressure from Protoss. Like, sometimes you just don't have the choice of placing the optimal bunker, and that's the nature of the Zealot pressure, the gas steal Zealot pressure. So you know, Motive being a bit annoying, but ultimately that goon didn't really do much more than that. So and looking at the supplies, this is pretty nice for Protoss, actually, and I'm curious to see, is Protoss gonna go and put down a 3rd Nexus, or is that a Stargate? Oh, that's a support bay. And that's range going?
Yeah, and he missed the support bay, but Motive, he's played so many sponsored games versus Terran lately, I think you just gotta know that versus this guy, it's gonna be Reaver, and also Reaver is just a staple in PvT. We do have the 3rd Nexus coming down at bottom left.
Yeah, very comfortable position here for Protoss.
I think Royal is waiting to get a little bit more intel before he makes a decision on what he wants to do. Like, yes, he rushed the +1. Okay, never mind, I take that back. I was about to say he can definitely flood factories if he wants, and there we go. 3rd, 4th, and 5th factory, and they're tucked away. And there's no vision for Protoss right now, so he has no idea. If this is a Stargate, he's in trouble. Uh-oh, he's in trouble, man, and it gets scanned immediately.
Yeah, that's very fast timing on the factories as well, pre-8 minutes. So he is going to be able to put on a lot of pressure too. Like you mentioned, the Stargate means he doesn't have more gateways, and he's also relying on Reavers. So Protoss's production is actually quite low. And it's going to be hard for him to stop this.
Yeah, for a second I thought the Observer wasn't going to go in, but it does go in, and it should have seen the factories now. Motive, I really do think, out of all games to cancel your Stargate, this is the one, because the Stargate is not going to help you here. You need to get rid of it, and just... Oh, he does cancel it! I can't believe it. I think this is the first time I've ever seen a pro cancel a Stargate. Yeah, he needs to flood gateways. get Citadel ASAP and Forge.
Yeah, you never like seeing this actually from it's the 5-fact timing is so quick here from Royal. Like, he didn't get the turrets up, so he flooded factories super quickly, and Motive's just not gonna have time. But generally, when Protoss goes for an opening like this, they should never have to cancel their Stargate. It should be like, they should have the confidence that they're gonna hold, or they're gonna delay the Terran long enough for the Stargate to come in. Like, that's how it should be in terms of their build order selection. It should never be like, oh, panic, cancel my Stargate, put down a bunch of gates. So you can see that he's definitely a bit unsettled here in this game, but it is only 5 factories. It's not like something like 6 factories. I'm surprised Royal hasn't added like a 6th factory here, because he's definitely going to be committed on this push.
Well, it may only be 5 factories, but that unit comp, it's almost pure tank and Goliath. Now he's building vultures. So like, this is a really, really powerful army that's already gotten halfway across the map. Motive had to go back and get his second Reaver to try and buy time, but he needs amazing Reaver shots here.
This is so bad for
it's so bad. There's just so many tanks.
Oh, actually he has double Reaver, and he salvaged that. I thought for a second Protoss was about to get completely blasted, but the Reaver stayed alive. He disengaged just in time. He's buying a lot of time as well. Reavers won't shoot. Of course, from top left to bottom right, sometimes they just bug out like that. It's so annoying as Protoss. And Royal's doing such a good job just pushing across the map. Again, he's only on 5 factories. Like, that does count for something. You know, you definitely want to have 6 factories if you're committing here.
What is Motive doing, man? He's got all of his goons out of position. Oh my gosh, the tanks are already here. Good Reaver shot, but one of the Reavers dies, another one dies.
No, this is so good for Protoss. He's actually gonna hold.
Is he gonna hold? That is a lot of goons. He's gonna get rid of a lot of the tanks. There were so many tanks in the beginning, but now they're falling left and right. The goons are so strong.
I mean, Terran's just on 5 factories. Like, he needs more production to keep this going, and Motive completely stuffed this. Like, look at how many goons he has left over. That's only 2 tanks, and the Goliaths are gonna die. I think Motive is gonna do this, man. Royal is on the, Royal is in a lot of trouble.
Look at that probe drop. I guess you need as much as you possibly can. He gets rid of all the tanks. And remember, Royal scanned the Stargate. Look, he scans and there's no Stargate. So I'm sitting there thinking, why does he have so many Goliaths and not tanks? And that's why. And Royal, that's like a GG type of scan. He has 10 Goliaths when he needed to have 10 tanks.
Man, Royal, why are you still on 5 factories? He should have been on 6. He should have been on 7, just committing to this 2 base. Like, he has a lot of Goliaths. Oh my god, he actually thought that... Did he think this was carriers?
Yeah,
Completely
remember he scanned
misread.
the Stargate.
Yeah, but like, I think at that time, you just think that Stargate is maybe for Arbiters or something, too. Like, he doesn't even know if... I think he completely misread this game. It's crazy, because I don't even know why you would think that's carriers, necessarily.
Well, I mean, all he saw was support bay. He has a scanner.
Yeah.
He didn't see Citadel. Like, there's no way it can be Arbiter if there's no Citadel. That could have been... Okay, well, it's not could have been really bad. That was really bad. But Motive, he held the one timing he needed to hold. So now, it's 3 base Protoss versus a Terran, who, by the way, just started their science facility, so it's not like he even has +2 anytime soon. Terran is still not out of it, of course, because 1-1 is still going to be strong, and this is a 2-player map, and it looks like bases are somewhat easy to take, but Protoss now is in a pretty decent spot.
Oh, Protoss is in the commanding lead here. Like, Terran's 3rd base is so late. If you're on 5 factories, generally, you can put down your command center at 9:30. And it's only now going down at 12:30, so really far behind in terms of that tempo. And Protoss, I mean, of course, had to delay their 4th base and their tech, but considering that they defended and, shaved off a huge amount of tanks there, they're gonna have so much time to get into late game as well.
Well, these 4th bases are kind of weird to take because you can see that the mineral patches face towards the center of the map, and Royal excels with harassment just like this as he gets 3 vultures into the main and racks up so many probe kills. What is it, like 9 or 10? So many went down. Motive panicked and had to load up his shuttle with the probes just to save them. And now Royal's taking advantage of this focus of Motive in the main to loop around to the bottom side. The entire army is going to get over here undetected.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of probes to lose, and honestly, Terran getting into this position as well, it's going to be very hard for Protoss to attack, and if he kills this Nexus, I mean, dude, this is such a StarCraft 2 situation where the army comes out of nowhere and just attacks one of your bases.
Shuttle immediately died.
Motive is falling apart here, and he was in such a good play. He was in such a good position, and all of a sudden, he's dead. He lost this Nexus. That's a huge blunder, and he has no counterattacking opportunities. He has to bring all the units here and kill this before the Nexus goes down.
And this is one of those maps that Royal excels at. Like, this is kind of like Hidden Track or whatever that map was called, Ultimate Stream, I can't remember. Oh my gosh, so many Zelts are getting mowed down before they can even get in there. Good focus fire on the goons. Look how fast they die. That was a pretty good... Oh my gosh, the goons, they just melt like butter. Look at the supply. 30-40 supply lead, and Motive doesn't even kill the army. He only lost... Or Terran only lost Vultures. Now this probe line is dead.
Royal's playing out of his mind to salvage this game. He was pretty significantly behind after misreading Motive's build, but he's clawing back just through army movement and nice fights and good multitasking. And Motive, you can see he was kind of late, like, on everything. Once the drop, like the Vulture drop hit, he had to pull all of his units back into his main, but he did not reposition for such a long time, and Royal just got into bottom left, got that position, that killer position, and just killed the Nexus. And now, I mean, this is basically unlosable for Terran. He's ahead in supply. Similar base count, actually 3 base to 2, because Motive can't mine from that third base. He's won.
I think he has one. Terran's taking bottom middle. Protoss, because they expanded relatively quickly, main and natural is going to be mined out pretty soon. And then where's your money coming from? It's not coming from top middle anymore, because that's just never going to get mined. I think all Motive can really do is try and go for a Hail Mary, and look at that. Units are bugging out on the minerals.
Yeah. Oh, there's actually a path there. Okay. I mean, this was so hard for Protoss to come back once they're behind an upgrade in supply. Protoss really needs a huge economic lead to contest Terran, and he just doesn't have that. Storm's gonna come into play, but EMP already finished. Does EMP one of the Templar, but 2 Storms do go off. A couple SCVs do die, but Royal does pull them back in time, and his economy is still totally fine.
He holds it, and if he's able to afford EMP, I imagine he must have 2-1 by now. His upgrades are probably so good. Protoss, still no armor upgrades. Terran doesn't care about this base, I guess. He's on the prowl again. He wants to knock down that top middle base. And Motive trying to get bottom left up and running as he puts down an Nexus there, but these goons are mega dead. See you later.
Yeah, and Royal's gonna clean this up, and then he's gonna take his big Terran army and move across the map. I mean, he's feeling so confident at this point. Look at how meticulous he is with putting down mines, sieging up one tank just to make sure the counterattack options aren't there. Storms are good from Protoss though, and he does shave off a couple of supply. It is still tricky for Terran to push in. He can't be too over aggressive because, you know, Storm is just so strong, but I mean, Terran's just so far ahead at this point.
Yeah, the Storms. Oh my, wow, that was the fastest Archon kill I think I've ever seen. EMP, one shot, see you later. And another shuttle's gonna die, and good focus fire gets rid of almost all the Templars. There's still just so many tanks left over. This could be GG.
Yeah, that's gonna be it, because after these Protoss units go down, GG gets called. Royal, that was really close, man.
That was actually incredibly close. I cannot believe that Motive held it, and then Royal somehow salvaged the game with that. Well, first off, it was the drop to top left to drop to drive everything to top left, and then he goes immediately down to bottom left and sniping that shuttle. Oh, that was game changing. If he could have shuttle bombed even like 1 or 2 Zealots, he could have potentially wiped out a few tanks or a few Goliaths and opened up a pathway onto those tanks. But I don't even think he killed a single tank in that engagement at bottom left.
It's just so hard when you don't have that much experience to play at your full skill level, you know. So Motive falling a bit apart after that amazing early game for him because Royal misread his build. And
Yeah.
well, I guess that was also kind of like mind games on sorry, what's his name? On the Protoss's part, on Motive's part. Yeah, we're going back to the key moment.
Yeah, this vulture drop. And like I said, it's like he's doing the move at the same time. There's no hesitation. It's already moving down to bottom left. And Motive's like in a crazy good position. He had 65 probes. He had, not the highest gateway count, but he had all the tech that he needed, just needed more stuff and to get into a better position. But look, Motive still doesn't know that it's here. And by the time he realizes it's here, literally the entire army is set up. And this is the shuttle that I'm talking about. There's so many Goliaths because he thought it was carriers, and it gets one-shotted. Bye-bye.
Yeah, he just had to pull so many units to top left for just 3 vultures. That was just a big mistake. Lost all the tempo he had on the map. And once Terran gets set up like this, I mean, it's just always going to be so efficient for Terran.
Yep, and then this engagement, I actually thought Protoss would clear this, but the focus fire onto the goons, like, look how many goons there is. There's like 15 goons, okay? And then all of a sudden, we go, boom, 3's going to die here. Then, 3 more, and all of a sudden, there's no more goons left over. Plus, the Zealots died to the Goliath somehow.
Yeah. Well, that's it. GG. Break time.
And we are wrapping up today. This is going to be the final game of the day. Royal going to be facing off versus Sacsri. Once again, looking for some redemption. And we've got Monty Hall banned from both. That means we're going to get Pantheon.
That's so funny.
It's never getting through, man. It's just like BSL. They're just, I'm sorry, Zero. Your BSL maps are just not going to be played until the final rounds. It's the same thing here with Monty Hall.
Yeah, just they're just not balanced maps, so I think most of the players want to avoid those as much as possible. They are fun to play, they are fun to watch, but definitely also a bit wild. Not surprised to see that. We are gonna get Pantheon though as our last map here, and I've seen a decent amount of games on this map, and they've been incredible.
Have they? I feel like we saw this map or got picked, but I don't remember the game being played at all. I've already forgot.
I mean, I've seen spawn games on this.
Okay. And how does it go for TVZs? Does it look good?
Yeah, it seems pretty balanced. Like, I've seen Royal play Sulky in some crazy late game games. I feel like every time I see this map, it's a really long game. These high ground nodes that you have here, intersections, just create such an interesting play style. The architecture of the map is really cool, but ultimately it is just kind of like a 4-player map. Although that is a reverse ramp, which is it? I just don't understand, actually. Let me pull up that map. I thought it looked like what? Yeah, I'm gonna check this out while you cover for me, Nyoken.
Okay, well, it does look like the low ground mains with the high ground naturals, just like what we saw on Dominator. I wonder if Sacsri
is it the top side of the map has like normal mains, but the bottom side has reverse ramp mains, or is the map preview just? Oh, okay, no, it's. I see. The ramps are actually 2-sided. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, I guess we'll.
No, because it looks so weird. But you know what I mean by the 2 sides? There we go. On the map preview, it looked like that was actually a reverse ramp at bottom left, which is where Royal is spawning as the red Terran, and and the other side also looked low ground, and that's where Sacsri is spawning as the blue Zerg. But no, these are actually these ramps are so annoying.
You don't like them? You're not a fan?
Man, I can't believe I'm turning. I always think to myself, how don't the casters know the maps? Like it's their jobs. I just haven't been playing, guys. I'm sorry.
Well, who are you? Even if you had been playing, who are you going to play these maps against? Like, it wasn't on ladder.
Yeah, it wasn't on ladder.
There's no BSL, so you're not going to be playing it in preparation for that.
No, but I would have been watching games.
Okay, well, we've got another wall set up, and it looks like there's going to be a gap on the left side. And I was thinking that Sacsri might as well go for like an overpool, but this time it's going to be a 9-pool. And look at this, he's even going to find Royal first.
That's crazy that he's going for a 9-pool. Maybe he's putting Royal on an 8. Like, this is how crazy Royal is, man. Like, I think after, the psychology here is so straightforward. Like, Royal, after that first game where it went completely south, there's no way he's not 11 racks. He's on a match, like, this is his tournament life here. He's definitely favored against Sacsri. Why would he open something like 8 racks or Command Center first?
Well, you never know with Royal. I actually thought he might try and CC first again, but not going to happen this time. In the SCV, I'm not sure if it actually spotted the Overlord, but I'm pretty sure the Overlord spotted the SCV. So Sacsri knows that SCV's on the way. And that drone, well, it was going towards the natural, but now it went back towards the main, so I'm not sure what's up with that.
Yeah. Well, let's see here. Royal's gonna get in here. I mean, this is such a bad opening for Zerg. 9 pulling into a wall.
That doesn't even block, does it? Look at it.
It does.
It's like barely touching?
Yeah, but it does. I mean, he wouldn't put it down.
Okay.
Yeah. The top, you know how the top side's kind of weird too. This is annoying because like Zerg has to keep the lings back.
Yeah, otherwise he's not getting his natural. So this 9 pool is turning into basically an overpool, but with lower econ. And yeah, he's in trouble. The first Marine's already done. The Sim City's well set up with that second depot. A lot of times the 9 pool gets here before even the second Marine pops. The third Marine is going to be out in just a moment.
And this is how, you know, a player's range can benefit them. Like, the fact that, again, well, let's see how this does, because that's only 2 SCVs, but perfect micro from...
Oh my God,
Royal is so good. This is how, a player's range benefits them, right? Like, I cannot believe that Sacsri thought Royal would do something crazy in this situation, but Royal, honestly, like, he does, again, insane openers so often, even in high pressure situations, that he just tricks players into, you know, for example, 9 pulling in this situation where he's gonna 11 racks. And this is a massive, massive advantage. And not only was that was so bad for Zerg because he lost a couple lings, so that's opening Terran up to putting on even more pressure. And Zerg's just on 1 hatchery production, so every single link he makes, his economy is going to suffer tremendously. And behind this, actually, Royal's going to go for an academy. Very standard.
Well, what do you think Sacsri can do to potentially get back into this game? My initial thoughts was, I think he needs to channel his inner beast here, transfer drones to the natural, hope Royal scans it, and then hit him with like a ling flood as Terran moves out. But other than that, nothing's coming to mind for me.
Yeah, there's nothing he can do. He's got to claw his way back somehow, but he's at such a deficit. There's no trump card here either because his timings are so late. Like, this is like such a massive, massive disadvantage build order wise. So, yeah, I mean, it's just tough. I think Terran doesn't need to do anything. Just sit here. He doesn't even need to push out, like you mentioned. Maybe the one trump card would be ling flooding, so Royal could just sit on his side of the wall and get his tech going and everything going and play 0 risk.
Yep, eBay coming down. And it's going to be great for the Spire timing this time around. Spire is not, okay, it's barely halfway done now. First medic is out. There's no Sunkens because Sacsri is trying to recover his eco. That is a 3rd Brax. You may even see a 4th Brax.
Yeah. I mean, he can do anything he wants. Generally with his opening, it should be 3 racks. And then the problem is 4 racksing, you would have to cut turrets, so you want to play aggressively to keep the mutas back. But that's just kind of high variance. If he goes 3 racks here, he can just sit back, make a lot of units. Now Zerg, I mean, it's just really difficult for Zerg because you can see he wants to also saturate the natural. So he's not going to have, like, larva. But, I mean, even his gas is very low. Did he start the mutas?
No, Spire's not even done. I don't... Oh, yeah, okay. I guess he must have started if it's this low. It must have just finished.
And you can see Royal's taking no chances, like you mentioned. The possibility of ling flood, he's just sitting there. He's even building this bunker. Super, super, super safe from Terran. Like, dude, Royal knows he's the favorite here. He doesn't need to do a crazy bowler. That's why, to me, again, the 11 racks was so obvious, especially if you can wall at your front. He's going to go for that. And, I mean, Sacsri, he's got to do some magic here. He's got to find something to happen for him to come back in this game.
He does have a decent amount of mutas now, so he can get some pick-offs onto the Marines if they're ever isolated. But like you said, he needs to find that opening, and right now there's no opening to exploit as more turrets get put down. Royal is just so set up. I don't even know if he can harass this. Okay, he gets 1 SCV, but he takes a lot of turret damage.
That's 4 turrets. That's not going to be good trades for Zerg. He could pick off drones, SCVs, but then his mutas would be so bruised up that these Marines would just walk to the natural and win the game. So he cannot take that harassment. He's going to try and run by with a couple lings. This is a good move, but the bunker is already in place, and he has units. Look at the production from Terran, so far ahead. Actually, Royal could just push out with his units, but he's going to play really safe and bring everything back.
this was a bait. He acted like he didn't have any units, but actually they were just sitting in the main waiting, and now these mutas are, mutas are never stuck, but they're not in a good spot, that's for sure, as one falls, maybe a second, no, just takes a ton of damage, and at the same time the Marine confirms where the third base is, and with this 3 racks production with almost no Marine losses, I imagine he can probably just walk across the map and go kill that base.
Yeah, Sacsri even built the 2 creep colonies because he didn't think Royal would turn around with the Marine medic he had out on the map, but Royal playing extra safe. I mean, to be fair, Royal could have just probably ended the game with the Marine medic he had out on the map because he had so many Marines at home defending. But yeah, I mean, 11 mutas now out for Sacsri. He can make some magic happen here, kill a couple turrets, and maybe harass the SCVs at the natural. That's an option for him. And but unfortunately Royal is also pushing out on the map at the same time, so top right has been scouted. That's in jeopardy. Sacsri is going to pull back and try and defend this.
It's not that much bio. What is it, like slightly more than one group? I think if the mutas went up there, he might be able to kill it, but he's way too late now. That hatch is going to complete and also get sniped probably.
Yeah, I mean, look at how far behind he is. He doesn't even have a third hatch. He has no tech coming. And Terran has so many Marine medic, and he has double starboard armory finished.
Yeah, and I don't know if we ever got to look into what Sacsri's follow-up is, but I don't see a Hydrogen or a Queen's Nest anywhere. So once these Valkyries come out, there's going to be literally no counterplay to it. Now, that's finally a good trade for Sacsri as he kills 4 Marines, but it's too little too late unless he can find the sweet spot here. He's trying to double micro a group of 2 groups of mutas actually. Look at this.
Yeah, 600 APM, but it doesn't really matter.
Well, what happens if he snipes this starport?
Yeah, I mean, that's
look at this.
I guess maybe.
Dude, that's a ton of mutas, but it all comes down to whether these Valkyries can complete or not. Oh no!
I just don't see a world where Zerg wins this game, but if he does,
the Valkyrie's out, and I don't think he went armor, so that means that Valkyries hit really freaking hard. But the double muta micro, that was pretty cool.
I mean, this is kind of what a lot of play, I look at this and I laugh because Sacsri's like sitting there 550 APM trying his hardest to micro 2 groups of Mutalisks, and some viewers might watch and be like, wow, that's incredible, he's so good at mechanics, blah blah blah, but you really don't need to play like this, and it doesn't really matter because strategically he's lost. Like, there's nothing he can do. Even if you micro like an absolute robot, it doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of StarCraft, and I think, once you become, more acquainted with the game, you become higher skill level, you kind of realize, like, actually, you don't need to be like a crazy mechanical god. Like, just play very strategically sound. And there's no win condition here for Zerg. I mean, he's going to go for a counterattack, but that's 4 Valkyries. He just needs to pivot these back and defend.
Yeah, Zerg is going to come in here, but he's now way committed. Like, this is it. Somehow the mutas need to kill all these Valkyries. Scourge, if he can get connections, maybe, but remember, they don't have +1 armor. Look how fast they die. Half of them are gone already. Those are all dead now. Bye-bye.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, such a huge build order win there for Royal to start out with an 11 racks against the 9 pool, and the 9 pool just it didn't even kill any SCVs. 9 pool kind of expects to try and kill at least 2 or 3 SCVs, right, with the lings, but he dove in with the early lings, killed like no SCVs, and then took on so much pressure. And this is the result. This game is the result of that opening. Like, Zerg has been on the back foot the entire time and has never had any opportunity to do anything because Terran just played very standard, very safe, and was just ahead from the beginning. So, yeah, just perfect game here from Royal.
He's stimming for it. He wants that third base. Oh, and it's a move command. And the writing's on the wall. You can see Sacsri's not happy about this game. His first Hydra pops out, but gets immediately killed. He's got 6 Sunkens at his natural. But with the +1 armor and +1 weapon, I don't even think 6 Sunkens is going to save the day versus this Marine Ball. And the Marine Ball isn't even that big.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of Sunks. Terran's just gonna take his time. I mean, Royal doesn't, he knows. He just wants to get out of this group. No risks whatsoever. But, I mean, Zerg has 0% chance of winning this game. And we're just waiting, really, for the game to end at this point. Because the double vessels will also pop out. Zerg has no production whatsoever. He's on 2 hatchery. No Hive, GG gets called.
Yep, and that means that both the Terrans are going to make it out, rush through the top side, and then Royal getting redemption there versus Sacsri. Little unlucky for Sacsri. A bit sad that we still have no Zergs into the rounds of 16, at least through the round of 24. Of course, we've still got Sulky and Hero just placed in there. And I'm a little bit disappointed with Motive. I thought his hold on Minstrel was great. I really had high hopes for him with this group, especially with 2 Terrans. But the 2 Terrans he got, they're just too good.
They're just really good. I think Motive has the skill level to compete, but you really need a lot of experience. I can't understate this enough. You just need experience to be able to play at your own level, especially on a stage like this. Royal, yeah, all these players that have been playing for a long time, they've paid their dues. They've gone on stage and not played their best games and lost repeatedly until they could just actually play the games that they play on practice, in practice. And Motive, just a matter of time until he gets his own breakout performance, hopefully.
Well, we're getting a look at the double Mutamicro that I was talking about. It's funny because Sacsri's actually up in supply, which, can be a scary moment. But once the Valkyrie gets out, all of a sudden, one Valkyrie pushes away literally like 20 Mutalisk. That's how strong they are.
Maybe if he jumped on top of that Valkyrie right away and then microed like a god to kill the turrets afterwards. But, I mean, he was just so far behind there that there was no way. And again, it's because of that opening. So.
Yeah, cards did not fall in the right place for him that time around. But congrats to Royal. So we've got Royal, Rush, Barracks. We've got Bisu. Who's the other one? Bisu and Money. Bisu and Money. And then we've got one more Protoss that made it through already. I can't remember. Rain. How did I forget Rain?
Rain, yeah.
That's a pretty solid lineup to get through so far.
Yeah. I mean, you could say these Zerg players are struggling, but at the same time, the Sulky and Hero have they've been dominating ASL.
They're carrying the Zerg lineup, man.
Yeah, especially now that Soma's in the military and Queen is just permanently washed.
Permanently washed? There's no hope for him?
He clearly lost his passion.
Okay.
And he just kind of plays because, these guys make a lot of money. Like playing spawn games and stuff and turning their streams on, they make a lot of money. But it's quite obvious Queen doesn't really care that much, especially after winning 2 ASLs. And it takes a lot of work to get back to that level, And if you, I can kind of understand, if you've won ASL twice and you've been a pro gamer your whole life, you kind of know what the feeling is like. So.
Well, I remember reading on Team Liquid that Soma's been in the military for quite a while, so we could see him return probably back in 2025. So maybe not next season, but the season after that, he'll be back. I'm sure. Well, assuming he qualifies, but I assume he will qualify because he's one of the best players on the planet.
Yeah, Soma's just my favorite player, period. Love watching him play. Yeah.
Well, what is it about Soma that you like so much? Because actually Soma's a lot of Zerg's favorite player. What is the distinction of him among other Zergs? Why him as opposed to Sulky, for example? Sulky won twice in a row. Why still Soma?
He's just really good.
That's it.
No one plays like him. He single-handedly carries the Zerg meta. He has incredible mechanics. He's just so fun to watch. and he's an amateur. Like,
Well, I've only watched Soma's, FP stream a couple times, but one thing that I was actually surprised to see on his stream is even though he's 350 APM, like he's not like Mini, who's a maniac, like screen switching and stuff like that. Like he's very diligent, like, okay, I'm gonna build this and I'm gonna make sure that when I build my Hydra Den, it actually builds. Like I remember I think it was Zeus coaching Brittany, and in the translation, like Zeus was like getting really angry at Brittany. He's just saying like, just do what you're supposed to do. And Soma seemed very diligent about just doing only what he needed to do instead of doing like flashy stuff. Do you know what I mean?
a lot of pros are like that. They're
Well,
just
yeah, I know, but
no.
like,
What I mean is no. Like you're right. Like that. I mean that's exactly what I meant by with Sacsri. Like I'm watching this guy micro like two gruesome units with 500 APM, but it's so pointless. Like Sulky literally plays at less than 300 APM. He's such a like he's not even that fast. Like when you watch him play, his mechanics aren't like insane. This game is so much more about just knowing what you're doing and doing it cleanly and like well than trying to play as fast as you can. And it's again, even amongst the pro players, very few people understand that. Barracks is a good example. He also just plays way too fast for no reason.
yeah, like the players that come to mind when I think of that is Soma, and then Light. Light doesn't do like 5 racks very often. He's just
Light
like,
is probably the best mechanical player ever. Him and Rush is also really good, but Light, like he plays very fast, but everything is so clean.
yeah,
And
and
Snow, obviously.
that's exactly what I was about to say. And Snow also. Like when you watch these players, you at least think to yourself, I could do that, even though you can't. Like they make it look like you could actually do it. And we're looking.
You can, Nyoken, you can.
Well, yeah, okay, you can, but you can't. It's really, really hard. So we are done with this week's rounds, or groups. I mean, we have D, E, and F remaining. All of the groups are interesting for a variety of reasons. First one in Group D, speed and action. Speed is really good. So is action. Also, best and action seem to face off versus each other almost every single season, and for whatever
Yeah.
reason, best tends to get the better of action. And then Group E, we've got Shine, who always does very well. And then we've got Jaedong, who's, historically my favorite Zerg of all time. And then Group F, more Terran and Protoss, but JYJ and mine, like there's such killers in TVP that even though, Sork is historically a really good PvT player and so is Free, I feel like it's going to be really hard for both of those Protoss players to get past these Terrans.
I'm about to sneeze, so I can't really respond.
Okay.
Oh, that came and gone. Oh, it's still there.
Still there.
Dude, I'm on the verge. Like, oh my god, that's so annoying.
I hate that.
Yeah, I'm good now, I think.
You're good now.
Well, this was a lot of fun. A nice opening week here for ASL.
Yeah, it was. We definitely had some crazy games. I mean, we had a lot of short games like today, but the games were fun, even though, there was the botch of the.
I mean, I can't believe Motive just proxied the wrong main.
Yes, I was just about to say that. Even though that was a massive botch, it was funny in that sense because you never get to see something like that happen ever.
Yeah, it's wild. So what are you gonna do today?
Well, because the games are so short, I was gonna go to sleep, but actually, my sleep schedule, I guess, is fixed. I feel pretty good, so I'm probably gonna queue up some Diablo 2. Been
Oh, I
playing.
thought you were gonna turn on your stream and play some Brood War.
I don't know about that.
I was thinking about doing that.
Oh, you've been motivated to play.
Absolutely, I love watching ASL. And
And
always,
when you play, right, you're not gonna have Monty Hall vetoed, correct? You're gonna
oh,
leave that in.
I'm never playing that.
Oh no. What about Minstrel?
I think that's a good map.
You think so? I immediately vetoed that also. I can already see like if you noticed Motive's like units bugging out behind the mineral lines a little bit, I can already see it now. Like a tank doesn't fit, or a medic tries to heal a unit that it can't get to, and it just gets stuck there. So I already vetoed that.
It's very StarCraft 2, Matt.
Well, that's right up your alley. You were a killer in StarCraft 2 also.
No.
What do you mean, no? You were playing MLGs and stuff.
I'm a killer in Brood War, dude.
You're a killer in every game. I mean, you're going around on WoW right now, right? As Gyrog just one-shotting everybody.
I'm going around as Gypsy,
Gypsy, that's the new ID.
Human Death Knight, mining and herbing while talking to you. You know,
Well,
peak efficiency.
Well, in I don't remember the Death Knight patch, but they were saying Death Knight was pretty broken in that patch.
Are you gonna play retail with me, man?
No, I can't.
I think you would like it, man. I think you would like it.
WoW is not my game. I just don't understand the draw to it.
I love WoW.
But Throne and Liberty, 3 more weeks.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm waiting. I'm hoping that they fix the control. I think it actually could be a good game. It reminds me of Final Fantasy 14, sort of, which was pretty decent, but I like.
You didn't even finish Final Fantasy 14.
Well, that's because me and my friend we were just skipping the story, and after 45 days, I still don't know what the story was about.
Dude, when are you gonna actually play it? When are you gonna raid?
Raid?
Yeah, like finish the story and then you would like the story, maybe.
I don't know, but we'll see. Either way, we are done today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back next week with Group D, E, and F.